left, you lose 5 people on the right. It is a very, very complex and difficult task.
Joining me now, House Minority Whip and Maryland Democrat Steny Hoyer. Now the president seems to appreciate the fact of how complex the whole idea of repeal and replacing Obamacare is. Having said that, how are you feeling right now? I mean, are you concerned at all as someone who has been very vocal in your support of Obamacare and the need to stop some of these big changes that the Republicans have been calling for, that they won't be able to get a bill through? How confident are you?
Well, I'm confident that if they get a bill through, that needle they're going to thread that the president refers to is not going to be a pretty one for them. And a lot of Americans are going to be very, very upset. The reason they've had so much trouble is the American public are not with them. The American public are substantially for the Affordable Care Act now, which is a change from 8 months ago. They've looked at what the Affordable Care Act gives them, what they would lose under the Republican proposals, and they've decided they want to stick with the Affordable Care Act. And 75% of them say, look, fix the Affordable Care Act. So what they're doing in the Senate now, I think they're going to be putting their senators...
So I want to stop you there because I think it's a critical point that you just made, Congressman, because I've heard that as well from Democrats as I've been out around the country. They know that there are problems with it. Many of them have faced those problems. What specifically would you say right now would be the priorities that need to be fixed in Obamacare that maybe you could use to get some Republicans on board?
Well, we need to stabilize the market, clearly. And whether that gets Republicans on board or not, the Republicans are worried about the small market. They're correct to be worried about the small market, the individual market. It's too expensive for most people. We've got to deal with that. They have some things like health savings account and competition across state lines. We don't think those would work particularly well, but we could talk to the Republicans about that. But the fact is, what we need to keep are the essentials in the Affordable Care Act that make it accessible to people, make it accessible to people with pre-existing conditions, make it affordable for people of limited incomes, and keep them healthy. Those we can't bend on or compromise on, but that doesn't mean we can't sit down and talk and compromise, just as we've done, by the way, on the Russian sanction bill, the Iran, North Korea sanction bill just passed.
Do you think the president will sign it?
It passed 419 to 4. If he doesn't sign it, we'll override his veto. It passed 98 to 2 in the Senate. He's going to look at those numbers. I think some people on his staff are probably going to advise him, Mr. President, we've lost this fight, sign the bill, move on. But he's not very predictable, as we've all seen, so I don't know whether they'll sign it or not.
Well, let me talk to you about one of those things, and that is what has been a very public shaming of Jeff Sessions. And there are a lot of people who are concerned that he could fire him because it's clear he's been trying to pressure him to step down. What would be the reaction? Should he try to fire Jeff Sessions? And do you believe that any move like that is nothing more than a move to get rid of Mueller?
I think clearly that would be a move to get rid of Mueller and to protect himself for something he says is fake charges. If they're fake charges, why doesn't he simply let everybody investigate the charges and find out they're fake, nothing happened, there was nothing there? It's like not releasing his tax returns. Why doesn't he release his tax returns? Well, everybody concludes because there's something he wants to hide. If he fires the Attorney General, first of all, it's another demonstration of how badly he treats. This is somebody who was very loyal to him. Well, I think the first and one of the few United States senators that supported him from very early on in his campaign, and who shares apparently many of his views. But because he recused himself properly, the ethical thing to do, the president's mad at him. The Attorney General did the right thing, and if he's fired by the president, it will clearly be another indication of an attempt to cover up whatever happened vis-a-vis Russia.
Congressman Steny Hoyer, thank you for coming over to the camera. We do appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
And we're back with Attorney General Jeff Sessions, former